Mr. Jampon, is that okay if we wait 5 more minutes?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Okay, Mr. Jampon, we will gonna start the course and I will gonna start it first. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon for all the participants. First of all, let's pray and praise to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us mercy and blessing so we can attend and participate in today's second session of International Short Course without any obstacle. Second of all, let's giving salawat and salam to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that has brought us from the darkness into a better life. Before starting this session, I would like to say thank you to our honorable speaker, Mr. Champon Pitaksantayotin, PhD, from Hankook University, South Korea, and participant for the enthusiasm to join our course. Before starting this session, once again, I would like to introducing myself. My name is Safa Abdullah Abdad, and I will be the moderator for this second session. In this session, we will discuss about criminal law in cyberspace, tackling fake news and digital harassment. Nowadays, we know that technology play a significant role in amplifying political discord and shaping public opinion. However, it also opened the door to serious challenge including misinformation and online harassment. So regarding to this issue, sitting among us, someone who is qualified to talk about this issue, it is Mr. Jampon Pitaksantayotin, PhD. Hello, Prof. Hello, Mr.
Good
Jampon.
afternoon from
Good
Seoul, South
afternoon.
Korea.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Uh,
I'm catch a cold, so my voice is a little bit harsh.
it's okay, Prof. Uh, First, I would like to introduce you to all the participants today. So, Mr. Jampon got his bachelor degree of law from Thammasat University, Bangkok, Thailand. After that, he got his master degree from two different university, and it's from University of Warwick, Coventry, United Kingdom, in international economic law, and from University of Edinburgh, United Kingdom. And after that, he got his PhD from University of Leeds, United Kingdom. And now, Mr. Jampon is an associate professor in information technology law, Division of International Student, Hankook University of Foreign Student, Republic of Korea, since 2023 until now. Mr. Jampon also has a lot of journal articles, book, and etc. Uh, of course, there are still many achievements from Mr. Jampon that I cannot read to to limited of time. So to Mr. Jampon and all the participants, the presentation will last maximum for 2 hours and it's include Q&A session. So to Mr. Jampon, the time and screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Safa. So first of all, I would like to say that it is my great pleasure to be part of this international short course, and I would like to thank you, Dr. Wada Uspin and Universitas Muhammadiyah Surakarta for inviting me to give a lecture today. So today, actually, we will cover three important issues, one of which related to cybercrime. So let me start with sharing my screen. Right. So okay. So can you see the screen clearly?
Yeah, we can see the screen clearly.
Okay, let's get started. So we are talking about three important issues. The first one we want to talk about fake news. Actually, if we look at the nature of what so-called fake news, we will see that actually it is not news at all. We will talk about it, and we will talk about hate speech and lastly, digital harassment. So, as I just mentioned earlier, that when you have look closely to the terms fake news, actually it is not news at all. it should be correctly called misinformation or disinformation. Actually, technically, it is about the false information. We will go deep into its details later on, and then I will move on to talk about hate speech online. And lastly, I will go on to focus on online harassment, especially the harassment against women. Actually, there are several types of online harassment. However, I will focus mainly on cyber stalking. Okay. Um, all of these three types of so-called online speech or harmful online speech, they are typically considered to be speech or expression. So as a result, we need to understand two very basic concepts. The first one, we need to understand what freedom of expressions, or sometimes people say what free speech is about, right? And second one, we have to understand the nature and uniqueness of the internet, because all of these three types of speech happen online. And although when we talk about online or cyberspace, people who do something very bad may not come to us in the physical world. We may not have a chance to see them in the physical world. However, the text, the language, or the words that they post online can be very harmful and can create a lot of damage or something bad to the individual internet users as well as the public as a whole. So we will explore this. And because we also talk about criminal law as well, it is very difficult to cover uh, criminal laws in relation to these three types of speech in every country, because every country has different laws to deal with. So I select law, uh, certain countries' law to explain and how these countries approach to these three types of harmful online speech. Uh, Although we maybe you have heard about the Convention on Cybercrime. Although this Convention on Cybercrime deals specifically directly with cybercrime, most of the cybercrimes addressed by this convention are pure cybercrime, meaning that these crimes are the crimes against or targeting at computer systems or computer data. So misinformation, disinformation, or fake news, hate speech, and online harassment are not within or are not categorized in this group of pure cybercrime. Except hate speech, Convention on Cybercrime has an additional protocol to address hate speech in particular. So we will have a chance to talk about this issue later on. But I would like to say that for fake news, for online harassment, we don't have international law to address these two things at the moment. So these two things are mainly subject by individual national laws of individual countries. However, when we talk about hate speech, individual country has have their own laws to deal with hate speech, and also the Convention on Cybercrime has some provisions to address hate speech as well. Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce you to the concept of freedom expression first. Fake news, hate speech, and even certain types of harassment, as I told you earlier, are considered as types of expressions or speech which happen online. So we need to understand the very fundamental concept of freedom of expression or free speech first. So the right to free speech or the right to freedom of expressions is one of the important human rights given to people. It is a kind of legal protection against arbitrary limitations imposed on speech or on expressions by the government. So what does it mean? It means that technically, when we look at the core concept of freedom of expression, we can say that we have the liberty to say whatever we want to say. The government as they don't have any strong justifications or any strong reasons to restrict or ban us from saying something. So, so it means that we can uh, say whatever, whatever we want to say if the governments don't have any strong justification to ban or prohibit us, we can say, right? So this is the core concept of free speech. Um, Free speech is not just only guaranteed by national constitutions. I think if you have a chance to look at your country constitutions, you will find that free speech is guaranteed by your constitution law. It's also guaranteed by many international conventions and international human rights documents. For example, the Universal Declarations of Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and the European of Conventions on Human Rights. So all of this emphasize the very important nature of the freedom of expression. So I will not go into details. You can have a look at the teaching materials. So as you can see that these three important human rights documents and conventions say that you have the right to say whatever you want to say. You have the right to think and express it to the public in whatever means you want, just like just by saying something you want to print, you want to post on the internet, you want to show in the form of movies and so on. It's fine, and it is you can do it regardless of frontiers. It means that you can do it express your ideas from your own countries to other parts to other countries in the world. So the concept, the basic concept is like this. However, the interesting thing is that free speech or freedom of expression is not absolute. It means that it can be restricted or it can be prohibited or banned if it is necessary to protect any other compelling public interest. As I told you, basically, you should have the right to say whatever you want to say, and as long as the governments or the authorities do not have any justification to ban it or to prohibit you to say, so they should not do so, and they could not do so legally. However, once the government said that the justifications, the reasons for me to ban you from saying something uh, is related to important public interest. So at the point, they have the stronger justification to prohibit or uh, ban what you want to say. So this concept, then including the exceptions, are recognized by international law as well as I think many constitutional law of many countries. So let's have a look what can be regarded as justifications, strong justifications that the government or the authorities can rely on to prohibit you from exercising the right to freedom of expression. As before going any further, um, I want to say that the Universal Declarations of Human Rights itself is not the law, so it is a kind of declaration, but it is the important document, human rights related documents, which inspire other human rights related laws. For example, international conventions, international covenant on civil and political rights, and as well as the European Conventions of Human Rights as well. Okay, let's come back to the limitations of freedom of expression. It is clearly said in the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, and as well as in the European Conventions of Human Rights, that okay, the justifications, if what you say or the exercise of your freedom of expressions will have a negative impact, damage, or harm other people's rights or reputations of other. So the governments, in this case, the governments have justifications to prohibit or punish you if you violate other people's rights and reputations by saying something, right? So the very first one is the rights and reputation of other people. You can say whatever you want to say as long as what you said uh, does not damage or have a negative impact on other people's rights or reputation. Okay, rights just like the right to life, the right to privacy, and so on. Okay, and the second one, if the prohibitions of your freedom of expression is to protect other other public interests like to protect national security, to protect public order, to protect public health and public moralities. So it is fine. For example, if what you say will bring the threat to the national security, in this case, the government have justification to prohibit you from saying so, right? Or sometimes if you say something which can stimulate people on the street to use violence or to commit crimes against others. So in this case, to protect public order, the governments and the other authorities have the justification to ban you from saying so. In this case, it's relevant very much to hate speech. So I will go to back that point later on. So uh, let's have a look. What can justify the criminalizations of three types of expressions or speech? Let's start with misinformation or disinformation, or we colloquially typically call it fake news. So fake news can impact national security, can impact public safety, public order, public health, and um, can impact other people's right and reputations as well. Think about the defamation law. When you say something bad about other people to the public, so his or her reputation is damaged, right? So in this case, if what you said is misinformation or disinformation, so the government has the power to enforce this defamation law against you to stop you from saying something bad, especially if that things is not true to damage other people, right? And what else about hate speech? So as I just mentioned earlier, sometimes hate speech is used to urge or to stimulate people to hate each other and then use violence to kill or to hurt each other. So of course it will damage or it will be a threat to public safety, public order, and as I told you earlier, that when you use violence or you want to kill somebody else because of you hate them, so it will violate their rights, the rights to the life, the rights to their body, and the rights to their privacy as well, right? And how about online harassment? Uh, I want to explain to you, give you some ideas of online harassment a little bit at this point. Something like somebody keeps sending you unwanted message to you every day, to your emails address, to your email inbox, to your social media inbox, and so on. You don't want to see them, you don't want to contact them, but they keep sending sometimes rude message, sometimes there's sexually inappropriate message to you. So this can be considered as a type of online harassment. But we have we have other examples that I would like to show you later on. But given this definition or given this understanding of online harassment, we can say that online harassment uh, can pose a threat to personal safety, can violate the right to privacy, and can damage other people's rights and reputation as well. So technically, when we have a look at these three types of uh, harmful or undesirable online speech or expression, we can say that all of them can be criminalized because the governments and the authorities have strong justifications to prohibit to punish those who say who deliver misinformation disinformation to the public or to spread hate speech or to send unwanted messages to other people. They have justifications to punish these people with criminal law, right? So at this point, I think we don't have any problem with using criminal law to punish these three types of undesirable or harmful speech or expressions. I think before going any further, the thing that I would like to say is that, as you know, that when you look at the media, when you read news on news online news outlets or from social media, you will say that a number of people are quite familiar with the word fake news rather than misinformation and disinformation. However, what I said to you earlier, that why it is incorrect to call this kind of information fake news, because news is something about the truth. It is it is something to report the truth to the public, right? And if it is fake, so it means that such piece of information cannot be true. Once it cannot be true, it cannot be news. So I hope that you can follow my logic. As a result, the use of fake news is not academically accurate. We should use misinformation or disinformation instead of fake news. If it is too long for you to say to use the word misinformation and disinformation, we can simply say it is false. The information is false, or instead of fake news. However, because of the media, people still prefer to use fake news, although it is not accurate. Okay, we move on. Oops. Uh,
Suaminya gimana, Bu? Udah better sih, cuman ya
is it possible to mute? Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much. So up until this point, we have already get some concept about freedom of expression, right? Because freedom of expression is directly relevant to what's called fake news, hate speech, and also certain types of online harassment. As I told you earlier, that these three things happen on the internet. Now, it is um, important to get some ideas about the internet. Okay, so the internet actually it is the its full name is interconnected networks, but we call it internet for short. It is a network of computer networks, which millions of computers and other devices are connected around the globe. It allows computers and other devices to communicate, to transmit data, and share information. Okay, so in this regard, we can say that it is a type of media as well, or some people call it new media. But when we, in comparison to other types of media, especially traditional media like magazines, newspapers, televisions, radios, the internet has several unique characters that other uh, traditional media do not have, does not have, and these uniqueness of the internet can be regarded as challenges to legal control, especially with regard to misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, and online harassment. Let's have a look at the first one, global connectivity and scalable. So, first of all, we have to understand that the internet is the networks of computer networks, which connects computers and devices around the globe. And because of this, because everything is in the digital form, it is all things that we can see and look is in digital form, so it can be expanded or enlarged easily. If you are a company and you have money, you can extend and add up your network or your information on your network to the whole internet, right? So this is the first uniqueness of the internet. It connects the world, and more importantly, it can be expanded, right? We can say that it is scalable. The second one, accessibility. So internet allows cheap access to the information. It can be accessed, uh, it can be accessible from almost everywhere, every corner in the world. As long as you have your device, as long as you have the internet connection, you can access to the internet. You can access to information and many expressions and speech on the internet, right? So, for example, nowadays we use the under submarine cables to connect the internet, right? But it is the submarine which lie down on the bed of the ocean is not just the only way that you can connect to the internet. Even in the place which far away from the coast, which it is very difficult to access to set up a station, what is called, to set up the server connected to the under submarine cables, you can still connect to the internet through the satellite, right? So technically, we can say that, or we can access to the internet almost from any corner of the world, right? Another thing is the more connection means the more content, the more information, the more expressions, ideas, speech on the internet. So technically, internet allows people to express whatever they want to say to the world, right? In the past, in approximately in the 1990s, some academia, some people even say that internet was the free space for, which was not subject to any government regulations and law enforcement. So it is a free space which everyone can do whatever they want to do. However, about 20, 30 years later, we have know that actually it is not the case, because nowadays the governments around the world are trying to be strict and impose more and more regulations on the internet. However, due to the uniqueness of the internet, which I will talk about it later, I mean it is borderless. Uh, it means that no governments can effectively or 100% regulate content, speech, or opinions on the internet. So you still, although you are in the very most authoritative country in the world, you still have a chance or have a channel to get around such restrictions and access to the internet. Okay. Um, because of accessibility, mean, which allows a number of people to connect to the internet from almost everywhere in the world, it means that you all, there is more opportunities for people to do both good and bad things. So bad things in this regard, I refer to so-called fake news, online harassment, and online hate speech, right? And nowadays, actually, if I if I were in the physical room with you, I would like to ask you this question and ask you to raise your hands. But as we are doing the lecture online, so I just want to ask you, but you don't need to answer me. Uh, Do I believe that all of you who participate in today's lecture own at least one internet connectable device. At least you have the mobile phone, or at least because you are having lecture with me, online lecture with me now, at least you must have a notebook or any other uh, tablet device, right? The thing is, when you have such portable device like the mobile phone or tablet PC or uh, what is it called, uh, whatever, uh, you are connected to the internet almost 24/7. I think uh, most of you rarely turn off your mobile phone or log off from social media installed on your mobile phones. You just leave it like that. It means that you open the chance for bad people, for bad internet users to harass you, to send hate speech, and to disseminate uh, misinformation and disinformation or false information. So what I want to say, as we don't quite like to turn off our mobile phone. We don't like to log off from social media accounts that we have on our portable device, it means that we are subject to hate speech, to online harassment, and also fake news 24/7 as well. Right? This is a very scary fact. However, it is true. And another uniqueness of the internet is anonymity. Anonymity means that it is very difficult to identify the real user of the internet. Of course, I think most people they they have both. I mean, sometimes you have your own official social media accounts, which you use your real face, you use your real name to let other people know who you are. But some people also have second or third social media accounts which use somebody else photos, use fake names, or even use some kind of what does it call? Animation characters, AI created image. So those those accounts do not give the idea to other internet users who that person is, right? So it means that, for example, I have my I have two Instagram accounts. One Instagram account, I use my face, I use my real name, I show my real name. So people, every other Instagram users know that it is me, John Pon, right? But I can create one more Instagram account by using somebody else, or using an image of a animation character, and I said that I use my name as JP or something else. So I can use, nobody knows that the JP account is also my account. I can pretend to be somebody else, right? So in this regard, it is very, it is not easy to identify the the real person, the real internet user, right? To know who the internet users really is, right? In this regard, before we go into the point, and apart from this, a number of people, especially uh, those who have knowledge, technical knowledge about the internet or the computer programs, they can use some software to cover up their real identity. So when you, for example, if you use Tor or you use VPN, it is very difficult for the end of the connection know where these communication or where these data transmissions come from. And although they are trying to identify, it will be very, very difficult, right? In the criminal case, of course, the police need to know who is the person who did something bad, who committed crime online. So for the police, for the authorities, they have their techniques, they have their tools, they have their technologies, which are quite expensive to trace back and identify the real person who committed crime. But for us, ordinary internet users, we don't have such tools, such technologies, as a result, for us, it is very or extremely difficult to find out. For example, if you receive a message, a rude message from somebody, it is very difficult for you to find out who sent you this rude message to your email inbox, to your uh, social media inbox, right? So what I want to say is that anonymity even makes the things much more difficult to know who posted hate speech online, who spread disinformation, or who sent harassing message to you. Okay, and another important and very uniqueness of the internet is that decentralization. When we talk about this decentralization, it means that there is no single controller. In comparison to traditional media, just like, for example, the publishing house, which uh, publish a magazine, or the television station, which broadcast television station or radio stations which broadcast radio and television programs. Those traditional media, if you don't like it, if the government don't like it, the government can close down the publishing house, it close down TV station or radio station. So as a result, they can no longer disseminate or express the information or viewpoints to the public anymore. However, it is a different story for the internet. When we look at the internet, we cannot say which country or at one which point is the central control of the internet, because the internet is originally and intentionally decided to be decentralized, meaning that it doesn't have any single control. As a result, in comparison to traditional media, which the governments can close down if they propagate or if they propagate or disseminate hate speech, the government can just close down the television stations or the radio station or publishing house. But for the internet, the governments cannot do anything much, because sometimes, because of decentralizations, the person who disseminates hate speech resides in a different country, right, in a different country, but people in this country can still see or access to such hate speech on online hate speech from their very own computer. So it means that just I give you an example, just like here I'm in Korea, and somebody I can post hate speech or something bad, illegal on the website, which can be accessible by Thai internet users or by Indonesian internet users. All right. So although what I post is illegal, Thai government, Thai authorities, Indonesian government, Indonesian authorities cannot just simply send their police officers get on the plane and come to arrest me in South Korea, because of the international law, because of the jurisdictions, because of the sovereignty. So of course, they can ask the corporations from South Korean police to help to find and arrest me and put me into the criminal criminal law action in Thailand or Indonesia. But it is not easy. It is not always easy. So decentralized structures of the internet makes the things that law enforcement, especially criminal law enforcement, against those who post online hate speech or something like this much more difficult. Although we can come, but you need to get the permission, you need to get the collaborations from the South Korean police first, which will have to go through complicated and long process, right? And by that point, the police, South Korean, come to this to me, I may have already gone to the third country, and they have to start from all over again. And what I just said is related to borderless, because the internet, because of the decentralized nature of the internet, it means that the internet doesn't subject to any country's border. It can go anywhere. As I told you earlier, although a very authoritative country impose a lot of firewall, a lot of restrictions to prevent information from outside the countries and to get into the computer system or internet system in their country, but people can still use, for example, Tor or virtual personal network or VPN to bypass or to circumvent such restrictive measures. So technically, I want to say that it is extremely difficult for a particular government or a particular country to control or to limit the restricts the access to the information on the internet effectively. So this means that, as I just gave you an example, that a, a person can post a hate speech which is illegal in one country, but the government of the latter cannot just simply send their uh, police officers or law enforcement officer on the plane and to arrest that person in another country. They have to get through a long process of collaboration. So it means that It is easier, what I want to say, it is easier for a criminal to do something, to commit a crime on the internet, or like cybercrime. On the contrary, it is very difficult for the governments or the authorities to enforce its laws against the criminals, against the cyber criminals. All right. All these are challenges to the strategic concept of law enforcement, meaning that, okay, although hate speech, misinformation is illegal in this country, I post it, and these messages can be seen in your country, in Thailand, and whenever, wherever. But before the Thai authorities, the Indonesian authority, be able to come to arrest me, or if they, or ask the corporations uh, from Korean police, it takes time. So in this case, it is a big challenge of the law enforcement. You cannot enforce the law of your country directly to the person who commit the crime against your national law, right? The second one is, uh, because of the anonymity, it is extremely difficult to identify the person who may be the cyber criminal, right? As I mentioned earlier, to identify the particular person, you need technologies, you need tools, and so on, which are expensive and not available for ordinary users like us. For us, we need to go ask for the police to help. And although the police can identify the person who posts hate speech to harass us to online, if that the criminals are in a different country, so the police uh, of your country have to ask collaborations from the police or the authorities where the cyber criminal resides. So what I want to say is, at this point, is that law cannot keep pace with the development of new technologies. It is the case for cybercrime, like online harassment, online hate speech, and fake news. And it is also the case for the the emerging new technologies of artificial intelligence as well. But the artificial intelligence is beyond the scope of today's lecture, so uh, I will not cover it. I will focus just only these three things: hate speech, harassment, and fake news. Okay. So before going any through that point, I want to say that actually, when we talk about cybercrime, just like hacking and so on, this type of cybercrime is pure cybercrime, which targets directly to the computer data and computer system. These types of offense are already in Convention on Cybercrime, or Budapest Convention on Cybercrime. However, all of them, or none of them, fake news, online harassment, and hate speech, are not covered by the Convention on Cybercrime. So if you have a chance to look at Convention on Cybercrime, you will not be able to see offenses related to these three things. However, regarding hate speech, which relate to racism, the Convention on Cybercrime has an additional protocol on xenophobia and racism. And this one is the additional law to the main convention. So it is a separate piece of international law, but relate to the original convention. Uh, this convention protocol on xenophobia and racism uh, has some offenses related to the hate speech, online hate speech, but all of them focus only on hate speech in relation to racism, about you are of that ethnicity, you are that of ethnicity and religions. So it doesn't cover something else, like just like gender-based hate speech, which I will talk about it later on. So what I want to say that most of the offenses concerning fake news, concerning hate speech, and concerning uh, uh, harassment are subject to national laws of individual countries. So only, sorry, only hate online hate speech which is related to racism is addressed by the Convention Protocol on Xenophobia and Racism. However, this one is the additional protocol, which is not the main convention itself. It means that there are less numbers of countries which signed and ratified the Convention Protocol of Xenophobia and Racism in comparison to the main convention on some. Okay, so let's have a look at these three different things. We have fake news. As I told you, it is false information which can divide it into misinformation and disinformation. And we have hate speech and harassment, which we can categorize in the group of malinformation. As you can see from this diagram, we have misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation, they are false information, the information which is not true. But the difference between misinformation and disinformation is that for misinformation, it is false or misleading information, but the person who disseminates it may not know that it is false, it is not true. Okay. In comparison to disinformation, it is also false information. However, the person who disseminates or spread this information, they know, he or she knows that the information is untrue. But I want to disseminate this false information with an intention to mislead people or to manipulate or control people. So the difference is the intention. Okay, we come back again. Misinformation and disinformation, both of them are false information or untrue information. However, misinformation is the false information which the person who disseminated doesn't know that it is false. For this information, the person who disseminated knows that it is false or untrue, but he or she wants to disseminate it in order or with an intention to mislead, manipulate, and control the people or the society or the audiences. So, okay. So, for example, during the COVID-19 pandemic in my country, there was some weird fake news saying that if you catch a COVID or coronavirus, if you consume chilies, lemongrass, and something else I cannot remember exactly, you will be cured. All right. So in this case, if I don't know, I believe that this piece of information is true, although actually it is false. But I disseminated this information to other people without intention that this information is false and without intention that I want to manipulate or control the audiences. It means that I have disseminated misinformation because I don't know and I don't know the truth. I believe that it is to be true, although in fact it is false, and I don't have any intention to control or manipulate or mislead the audiences. Okay. However, in comparison, if I know that this information, eating, consuming chilies, lemongrass, and other herbs will cure COVID-19, I know it is not true, and I want to disseminate it to the people to to increase the sales of my shops. which sells chilies, kalanga, lemongrass, and so on. So I want to manipulate the people to feel that they would need to come to my shop and buy chilies, buy lemongrass to cure their COVID-19. In this regard, when I disseminate this piece of information, I disseminate this information. Why? Because I know the information is false and I intended to disseminate it for my own benefit, to manipulate people, to mislead people. Okay? So I think now you know the difference between misinformation and disinformation, which both of which are about false information. So now we move on to the hate speech and harassment. So these two things are categorized in the group of malinformation. Malinformation, we don't need to care about whether the information is true or false. We care just only whether the speech or expressions can cause damage or can cause harm or violate others or not. We don't need to care about falsehood or anything. Just care whether what we say will harm other people or not. And what we say it with an intention to harm or violate other people's right. Right. So as a result, for malinformation, we focus on the harmfulness of the speech or the expression, right? Not about the falsehood. So I will give you an example later, so you will be able to see the pictures clearer, more clearly. Okay. So let's start from fake news. Actually, as I have already mentioned, fake news is not accurate. We should shoot the word false information, misinformation, or disinformation. As I told you earlier, misinformation refers to false, inaccurate, misleading information which that is disseminated, or in most cases without intention to deceive the audiences or and so on. So rumors and pranks are some kind of are the examples of misinformation. However, for this information, is the false information which is deliberately or intentionally disseminated to deceive, to harm, manipulate, and control people. So typically, it comes in the form of fraudulent information and propaganda. The case, I give you the case, like the case studies in 2016. So it is called Pizzagate conspiracy theory. So in this case, during the US presidential election campaign in 2016, some people could hack and access into the campaign chairman of Hillary Clinton at the time. And then once he hacked into this his name is John Podesta. When the hacker could access to John Podesta's email, it was alleged that he uh, post information on WikiLeaks about the content inside his emails, and people came with the idea or the conspiracy theory that the emails that was hacked earlier contain some coded messages which connect to people in the Democratic Party, including Hillary Clinton herself, and a number of restaurants. And they said that this quoted message showed clearly that democratic parties, people in the democratic parties involved in human trafficking and child sex rings. The Among the restaurants, the target was Comet Ping Pong, which is a pizzeria in Washington D.C. Right? Because I think that this business support a Democratic Party, and there's no evidence that there was a there was a leaked information from the hack. There was no evidence to show that people in democratic parties got involved in human trafficking and child sex ring. and there was no evidence to show that Comet Ping Pong, a pizza shop in Washington D.C., also was also involved in human trafficking and child sexting as well. All right, but this information saying that Comet Ping Pong and other people in the Democratic parties were uh, were behind the human trafficking and child sex rings. This is the piece of false information, and it was at the time it was disseminated to social media and other websites, which have a great impact on not only the people in the Democratic Party, but also the Pizza Gate restaurant as well, because a number of people just came to the Pizza Gate, try to intrude into the restaurants with anger because they believe that Pizza Gate, Comet Ping Pong was involved in the child sexual abuse and human trafficking. They try to intrude, and at the peak, some people even carry guns and walk with the intention to get into the Comet Ping Pong pizza restaurants. As you can see, there is no proof that Comet Ping Pong pizza shop was involved in this allegation. But this kind of fake news was spreaded, and a number of people really believe it was true. And in the worst scenario, some guy just carried a rifle and walked into the Comet Ping Pong restaurant. Later on, the law enforcement authorities try to investigate and found there is no substantial evidence to prove that the people in the Democratic Party and the Comet Ping Pong or were involved in the child sexual abuse and human trafficking at all. So this piece of information is completely false. But as you can see, the consequences. Comet Ping Pong was Comet Ping Pong faced a business problem. A number of its staff were threatened, right? This is the first example of how uh, so-called fake news, misinformation, and disinformation uh, impact the business and people. Maybe the very first person uh, who disseminate this piece of false information want the Democratic Party to lose in the election. So it means that the very first person who uh, disseminates this information, the sorry, the first person who disseminates this piece of false information, he has an intention. So he knows everything that it was. He knows everything that the statement was false, and but he did it because he want to manipulate things. So in this case, he disseminated this information. And when other people, when they got this message from the original person, they may not have idea. They might not have any idea, and they just simply believe. As a result, once they believe it was true, they just simply pass the message to other people. At this stage, these group of people who got to receive the message from the uh, original original speaker, they uh, disseminate misinformation because they did not have an intention to do anything, and they did not even know whether the statement that they got was true or not. Okay, and we have another false information. In this case, the guy's name is sorry. The guy name is David Icke. He disseminated information that uh, the electromagnetic signals which comes with the mobile phones, sorry, which come with the mobile phones antenna, also carries some kind of the virus which caused COVID-19. So this person trying to say that the COVID-19 was the coronavirus was spread to the public through some kind of the electromagnetic in the air. So he claimed that 5G technologies contributed to the best situations of COVID-19 pandemic, right? And actually, the mechanism uh, how people catch the COVID-19 virus through the electromagnetics of the 5G technologies is a little bit complicated. However, I just want to let you know that this is the false information because there is no proof to show the causal link between 5G technologies and the widespread of coronavirus. However, a number of people believe that, okay, we live in 5G era and our mobile phones connect to 5G technologies. And as a result, we caught the coronavirus because of these 5G technologies. So this is completely false. And later on, the fact-checking organizations came out to say that no, there's no causal relations or link between the widespread of COVID-19 and coronavirus and the 5G technologies used by the mobile phone companies. Right? But anyway, these news have already, at the time, it had been already spreaded, and as a result, people were afraid of this, and the tele mobile telephone companies uh, were were affected but negatively by this fake news or misinformation. Okay, so regarding to legal response, as I told you that I cannot cover uh, uh, the law in individual countries, so I have to select some countries to show you as an example. As far as myth and disinformation is concerned, so-called fake news. Thailand has the computer-related crime 2017. Section 14 said that if you, especially if Section 14(2), if you input or post any false information in the manner to cause loss to the maintenance of national security, public security, national economic security, or infrastructure involving national public interest, or in the manner causing public anxiety, you commit a crime and you are subject to criminal punishment. So what does it mean? It means that if I post some false information, just like in the case of maybe a leading political parties in my country involved in uh, sex, uh, human trafficking, which is false information. Um, at this point, uh, okay, I just forget about the example that I just mentioned. I just changed an example. If I post a message media on my social media saying that, oh, there is a new type of coronavirus which uh, can be can can be spread through the 5G technologies, like in this case. And a number of people in Thailand, they become panic and uh, they become panic and they become crazy about trying to find out a solution or doing some crazy things. In this case, I committed a crime under sections 14(2) by inputting false information which caused public anxiety. Or even I can, in other examples, if I say that, oh, okay, uh, some Thailand will have a war against the neighboring countries right now because the situation on the border between Thailand and the neighboring country is not so good. All right. Actually, this is not true because nothing happens between at the border between Thailand and the neighboring countries. But I just post it for some reason, for maybe political reason and so on. I want people to believe my message. As a result, as a result, people in that area, in the area between the along the borderline between Thailand and the neighboring country, become panic. So in this case, I disseminate so-called fake news, mis disinformation, and it caused the public to anxiety or to panic. As a result, I committed this the crime under this section, and I can be punished. I didn't I I did not put the what does it called, the punishment into this slide, but anyway, I want to say that the person who committed a crime under this section can be punished with maybe, I think 5 or 10 years imprisonment and a fine as well. So it is a criminal. It is a criminal law. So this is the law against fake news in my country, and I think you can have a. I would like to encourage you to have a look at your own countries, whether in Indonesia or in your own countries have the similar law like this or not. Right. So we move on to talk about hate speech. Hate speech can be defined as any form of offensive communication that demeans or attacks an individual or group based on characteristics such as race, color, ethnicities, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, religions, or any other defining traits. So, as you can see from this definition, we can say that hate speech is used to dehumanize people, to make people feel, to make the target groups of people or target individuals feel like they are not human anymore, to make other people look at the target or the victims that, see, look, they are no longer human, so we can do whatever we want to do to them because they are not human as we are, right? This kind of hate speech just to make other people feel that I hate them, and they do not deserve being treated as human. As a result, hate speech can encourage people to mistreat, abuse, discriminate against, or even use violence against the target individuals or groups. So, as I told you earlier, for hate speech, we no longer talk about false information. We talk about the information or expressions which can cause harm or damage to other people. Hate speech is one of them. In this case, um, I would like to give you the example of Rwanda genocide 1994. Actually, in this case, it was not the online speech, but it is an example of how people exploit hate speech to cause a mayhem. A number, 100,000 people were killed in just about less than about 3 to 4 months, which is very, very awful and incredible. Uh, in 1994, actually, for a while, I would like to give you the background of this case. In Rwanda, before 1994, the, the people there uh, engaged in a very, very long-standing political conflict, because in this country, the majority citizens was Hutu people, from the Hutu ethnicity. But the people who were in the rural class were Tutsi people, which was a minority ethnic group. And these two ethnic groups, had conflict for a long time. And at one point, when the representative from the Hutu ethnic groups became the president, and he was assassinated. And there was a rumor that the Hutu who became the president, and then assassinated was a plot or a plan by the Tutsi people. So these rumors encouraged the Hutu people, which is the majority, and wanted to, and they feel that they were the majority. Why Tutsi people were treated as the ruling class? So they was furious. They were upset, and they came out to launch the so-called genocide. It's genocide as Hutu people encourage other Hutus to come out and kill Tutsi people. And at anywhere they found the Tutsi people, or at any time. So in a matter of a day, neighbors, very good neighbors, will become a murderer, which can kill not just only you, but your entire family. And in this case, the hatred and the violence was stimulated by hate speech. Actually, if you have a chance, you can go to YouTube and put Rwanda Genocide 1994 in the search box. It will come with a number of documentaries. And the hate speech,
I'm sorry, Mr.
yep,
Joban.
yes,
We have 2 minutes left for the presentation, and then we will gonna move to the question and answer session. Is
okay,
that okay?
can we have 5 minutes? I will finish very soon.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, in this case, so the words which used it for hate speech is Tutsi people Tutsi people are cockroaches. They are not human, so we can go out and kill them to clean our country from these uh, disgusting people. As you can see, it is a kind of hate speech which dehumanize Tutsi people and encourage Hutu people to come out to kill Tutsi people. At the end, about 500 to 800,000 people were killed. So we move on. And this is another case of gender-based hate speech. So instead of focusing on the difference of ethnicities, it focused on the gender instead. Just like women, if women is stupid, they deserve a bullet in the head. They should not come. They should stay at home. This is something like trying to dehumanize women to something which is have to serve men and so on. Actually, we are in the age that people should be treated equal. So this kind of speech should not be this kind of hate speech should not be uh, disseminated, and we should find some regulations, legal regulation, especially criminal law, to get rid of this gender-based hate speech. And this one as well, it is about racist hate speech during the COVID-19 pandemic by saying Asian people were the origins of the disease. So we should get rid of them. So legal response, as I told you that within the framework of the Convention on Cybercrime, they have some provisions to say that you cannot disseminate racist and xenophobic materials online. You should not disseminate some kind of speech or expression which motivate violence or threats. And importantly, you should not disseminate information which denies the just this deny or proof or justify genocide or crimes against humanity. Right. So I move on. And in the UK, actually in England, they have specific law saying that if you do something or express your opinions which cause some kind of uh, racial hatred by distribute materials or showing the materials broadcast any programs about hate speech, so can be uh, you can be subject to the criminal law, so criminal punishment. uh, Apart from racial hate, the UK in England they extend the law to cover the hate against persons of different religions, and also the person with different sexual orientations or sexual orientations as well, just like LGBT groups. So We move on. I will finish this very soon. We move on to online harassment. Actually, online harassment is an act of the use of digital communications to do something bad, to threaten, to abuse the victims. It comes in different forms. But what I want to show you in this lecture is cyber stalking. So cyber stalking can be monitored, can mean just the monitoring of the victims online without doing any other thing else. But sometimes can the cyber stalking can elevated to can be elevated to sending unwanted message, rude message, what is it called, threatening messages or something bad to the victims. One, not just only one message, but again and again, and over a course of time. So in this case, I don't have the time to cover, but in this case, this guy, uh, his name is Patrick Macchione. He he fell in love with a high school classmate, but when they became adults, they he sent a threat to her emails saying that I love you, I want you, but if you don't want me, you don't love me, I will kill you. And eventually he was arrested and sentenced to 4 years in prison. So in Canada, they have the law specifically to deals with this matter. So if somebody repeatedly communicate indirectly or directly something about, for example, sending inappropriate message or threatening message to the victims repeatedly, he he or she commits a crime of online harassment. So actually, there are some other details, but I cannot go into deeper due to the limitations of time. So I am happy to answer the questions. All right, I finished my
Okay.
lecture. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Jomban, for the presentation. So now, for all the participants, you can ask your question by typing in the chat box, or you can use the right hand picture to ask Mr. Jomban directly. We will wait for the question. Okay. There is one question here in the chat box. Do you want to read it by yourself, or you want me to read it for you, sir?
Uh, I can read it by myself.
Okay.
I'm first of all, I'm sorry to speed up my lecture at the end of my lecture because I thought that I had two full hours for the lecture. But anyway, uh, give me a good judge. Okay, give me good judge, good prosecutors, and good police. I will eradicate crime even without a single piece of law. Question is this, in your opinion, to what extent is the role of legislation in IT sector given the very poor state of law enforcement today? Um, what I want to say is, as you might have heard from my lecture, that nowadays when we talk about online or cybercrime, especially something related to speech or expression, I can say that it is quite difficult to rely on national law enforcement because, as you know, that sometimes the criminals is residing in a different country, but the message or something which is illegal contents can be seen in your country, right? So, uh, although good judges, good prosecutors, and good police you have in your country, given the decentralized nature of the internet, borderless nature of the internet, these things are not enough. We and more importantly, we still need some law because, for example, something in your country, some type of content in your country may be illegal according to your law due to your culture, right? But it is not illegal in this country. So it is very difficult to find the balance, the common understanding that this particular type of this particular type of content is illegal in both your country and my country. So we still need the law to define what is illegal both in your country. And if that content is illegal in your country, but it is not illegal in my country, so it is impossible for the law enforcement in your country to do something. So it is very, very difficult to enforce the law. And what you said, maybe it's not enough. Good, we need laws. Good prosecutor, good police, good judge are not enough, right? Hope I answer your question. The second question, the government cut internet connection when they create a controversial policy when lead to public anger, massive demonstration. The government argued the limitation is conduct to prevent spread of disinformation. Do you think it is just to cut internet connection for that reason? This is very, very interesting, very good questions indeed. For me, in my opinion, the governments can intervene only there is the clear evidence that violence is coming very close or immediate, right? So it means that the ban of the prohibitions of the certain types of expressions uh, should subject to the law enforcement only when uh, you can see that violence is unavoidable. It is coming and it is very close, and it is the interest of the public and the government to stop. However, in this case, the government in your case, the government should come out and show clearly to the Indonesian people that there is no other way to do it except cutting or taking down the internet. However, I don't believe that taking down the internet will solve the problem because when people are angry, when people want to express, they should be allowed to express. And to cut the internet, it means that they are not allowed to express. And once you don't allow to be, when the governments don't allow you to express, it's just like you have the boiling water in the pot and you cover it with a lid. What at the very high heat, the steam inside want to find the way out, and if there is no the way out, it will explode. So the way to deal with the this kind of thing is not to cut the internet, not to shut the mouth of people. They should try to allow people to say, and if they found that some misinformation is or disinformation is wrong, it is the direct responsibility for the government to correct it and explain it to the people that this is not correct, this is wrong, and it is not the cutting the internet is not the way to solve the problem. Hope I answer your questions. You have this one is I want to ask how the law addresses the challenges of identifying, prosecuting perpetrators of digital harassment who use anonymous identity. Actually, what I want to say is individual devices that we have, either your mobile phone, your notebook, or tablet PC or what, they have their own ID number, right? ID, which this is called IP address number. So typically, when we found that these um, these message was sent from a particular device of with that IP address number. So the police can trace back and check who is the owner of the device with that IP address number. But the thing is, it is not that easy. Although you can check and you can trace back, but the thing is, first, this computer may be used by many people, many users. For example, your computers may be used by you yourself, by your brothers, by your sisters, by your parents. And it is, although the police or the authorities are quite sure that the illegal message was sent from this device, but they cannot be sure who was the actual person who sent the illegal message. This is the first challenge. And the second challenge is that nowadays there are a number of people who can cover up, who can modify the IP address numbers. As a result, it is very difficult to ensure that that particular IP address number really belongs to this particular device, the device uh, that was used to commit cybercrime. And another thing is that nowadays we have Tor. Tor is the system which was decided to cover up to 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 protect the user from being identified. Actually, it was developed for good purpose because sometimes in certain countries the reporters are at risk, especially in the authoritative countries. So they want to send a message to the world to let the world what is going on in their countries. But if they use the normal channels of communication on the internet, there will be it is very risky for them to be caught and punished. So they use Tor and other devices to cover up their IP address to avoid being caught by the government. However, technologies does not does not technology does not have eyes. The technology doesn't know that they will be it is used for good or bad purposes. So a number of people can still, especially cyber criminals, they can cover up or uh, 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 distort, change the IP address numbers, making it is much more difficult to find who is the real perpetrators or the real cyber criminals. Again, it is beyond the scope of the law. It is about how the police and authorities can develop the techniques to identify the real perpetrators more accurately. So they should develop more technologies and techniques, strategies to identify to be able to identify the perpetrators or the criminals more accurately. Yeah. Hope that I answer your questions. If if
Uh,
you yeah
I think that's all of the question. Okay. As we come to the end of our session, uh, could you give us some closing statement to close this session, sir?
yeah sure. So first of all, I am very happy to be a part of this lecture, although it was short. I believe that it can give you some thoughts, some knowledge that you can go to find out later on. Because what I just said is, uh, I can say all of them were just introductions to the areas. Just like if you want to go on the hate speech, you want to go on to explore fake news and so on. There's a number of things that you can go further, and different countries, different governments, different groups of people, they regard these things differently, and different countries have their different laws. So it would be a good it is a good idea for people who are interested in these three issues to go further, to explore further, and you will find out that there's a lot of things that you can learn. Today is just the introduction. And thank you very much for participate or having me here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chompan. Before closing this session, I would like to say sorry if I mispronouncing your name and if there is a mistake from me. And to all the participants, I would like to inform that we still have one session left in 3 p.m. So yeah, I'm so sorry if there is a lot of mistake. I will gonna close this session. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Chompan,
Thank you
for
very much.
joining us. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.